Mondays here on The Four, we like to check in with the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce on issues that are important to local businesses. The Chamber works as an advocate for businesses and helps them connect with each other and important resources. Joining us live, as always, is Stephanie Benvenuto, the Vice President of Public Affairs for the Chamber. Thanks for joining us, as always.
Happy Monday.
Stephanie, we hear about supply chain issues constantly these days. It's involved in so many stories. Now I understand there's a way for people to get involved in solving those problems, at least in a long-term manner.
You bet. Yeah, supply chain issues have definitely been cramping our comeback style. So there's been a couple things that have happened. We had a czar that was appointed. We elongated our hours of operations at the port. But one new body that's been formed by the International Trade Association is the Advisory Committee on Supply Chain Competitiveness. They were stood up late last year, and there's a huge need for qualified applicants. They can actually take something like 40 people, and they only have, a couple more than a dozen folks on this body. And I'll tell you, I've looked at the list. I clicked every single one of their bios and did some digging. We've got a ton of folks from the East Coast. We got some Bay Area friends, but there's not a single person south of LA on this board. And I know that San Diego has some incredibly dynamic companies that have experience with nearshoring, have experience with significant maritime operations. And if that speaks to you or what your organization has been able to do, you should really consider applying for this. These are 2-year appointments by the federal government, and it can make a huge difference in long-term policy changes for the supply chain for good, and hopefully make sure that we don't find ourselves in these sort of hiccups as frequently as we are now.
So this isn't just like a think tank. You are actually going to be helping to craft policy.
Yeah, you're writing letters to the president.
Fantastic. All right. Okay, this is almost too good to be true, at least for us here in the USA. A 4-day work week. What a concept. It sounds like a fantasy, but in other parts of the world, they're looking at making this a reality. What is that all about? What's going on overseas?
Yeah, the UK is going to join some friends like Spain, Iceland, New Zealand in piloting a 4-day work week. And that 4-day work week, you have to be really clear, is 4 days of work for the same amount of pay as the 5-day week. So that's really important. You're not going to be taking a pay cut in order to appreciate this work-life balance. So this is going to kick off as a pilot program for 6 months in June in the UK. About 200 companies are going to be taking part, small business, big business, and they're going to report back. I think we can go ahead and use our crystal balls and say that people are going to like it. There's been a lot of indication lately, growing body of evidence, both anecdotally and academic, that tells us that people really appreciate the opportunity to work less. It doesn't impact your productivity. And in today's market, where we know that the job seeker is able to declare whatever they want in order to land that dream gig, I think more and more employers are open to this idea. In fact, a Congress member in Riverside recently proposed a similar bill for the United States. So let's look forward to see what we come back with.
Just real quick on this, does this lend itself more to specific industries? Is this like professionals, office workers, or is this everything?
Well, the UK pilot is everything, but I think so far in the United States, businesses that have taken it up, we've seen a lot of tech upstarts, folks in the Bay Area. It'd be great if we could find a way to expand that, because for people like me who are living at home and doing work to the Moana soundtrack, I know I would love to see more of my colleagues across the board taking this on.
Yeah, and we could say you're welcome for that. Okay, I like to get to this part. You can roll your eyes already. It's the Chamber's not-so-secrets for us Harry Potter fans here. We like to talk about funding sources, capital that's available to businesses, help them grow, help them start. What do you have for us this week?
Yeah, I know we've got some mixed feelings about the governor right now, maybe, and his choice of faceware, if anybody's been reading the news lately. But the governor does have an Office of Economic Development, which is known as GOBIZ. GOBIZ has recently published a really comprehensive guide, the California Comeback Guide, which has an incredible amount of resources about funding opportunities that are coming up. And this is really important because the state budget surplus is going to mean a ton of new programs for businesses. And you're going to need to know how to find them, when to apply, are you eligible, and who do I talk to if I have no idea what any of this means. That Comeback Guide is going to do everything that you need for that. So all you have to do is search California Comeback Guide, 10 pages, resources, contact information, and money amounts. So hugely helpful, and something that will be updated as we go forward and as we know more about the state's financial outlook. All
right, find that money. Stephanie Benvenuto with the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us, as always, on a Monday. You have a great week, even though you're trapped at home.
Thanks, you too.